So as you all know, Elizabeth Warren is currently up for re-election, and in an interview with Chuck Todd, she was asked whether or not, in the event she were to be re-elected, she would remain committed to her Senate seat. Essentially asking her, are you going to run for president, or are you only running to be a senator for 2 years? And this is what she had to say in response.
So look, I am not running for president of the United States. I am running for the United States Senate 2018, Massachusetts, woohoo. But let me actually underline a point on this one. And that is, we can't just be a party that says, oh, we're paying attention about what happens every 4 years. And I know there's a lot of anxiety, particularly on the Democratic side, about how we are going to deal with Donald Trump in 2020.
I take it as a no, you're not pledging to serve your full 6-year term if you win re-election?
I already told you, I have no intention of running for the United States.
But you know, I don't mean to pick on you about this, but you know how many people have said that? You know how many people have said that over the years? 2 years before, and then of course have ended up running for president. You see why a lot of people aren't going to believe that answer.
Look, what I'm telling you is that I am in these fights every day for the people of Massachusetts and for the people across this country. Yeah. This government is working better and better and better for a thinner and thinner slice at the top. I am in these fights, and I am in this fight to retain my Senate seat in 2018. That's where I'm focused. That's where I'm going to stay focused. I'm not running for president.
So no pledge, though, on the 6 years?
I am not running for president.
So I think that her stance was pretty clear. She's not running for president, and I believe her. We have reason to believe her and to believe that she's not bluffing, because last time in 2015, actually as early as 2014 even, when she told us she wasn't running for president, she meant it, and she didn't run for president. And she made a really important point there. She said, we can't just be a party that says, oh, we're paying attention every 4 years. That is so incredibly important, because it's everyone. It's not just neoliberals. It's progressives too, myself included, that really become fixated on the next president. But we can't just focus on that. We have to focus on policy goals in between elections, even in between midterms. We have to make sure that we don't stop pushing for goals. So, for example, if we get a Republican in the White House, that doesn't mean that we stop pushing for our progressive agenda and we wait 4 years to see if we get a Democrat in office. And I don't think that we have done that, but it's really difficult to not get focused and bogged down by talks of the next president, especially when we have someone as irrational and unstable as Donald Trump in the White House. I think, I speak for a lot of people when I say we're counting down the days for this asshole to take a hike. We want him out of the White House. But with that being said, this point, to not be a party that is only paying attention once every 4 years is really important. And it's a message that, hopefully will resonate with everyone. But in terms of her running, I think that what she's doing now is she's clearing a path for Bernie. She sees someone who the momentum is clearly behind, and if she were to run, she probably acknowledges that she would split the progressive vote. But in choosing to not run, what's going to happen? All the progressive votes will be consolidated. Anyone who is progressive will vote for Bernie Sanders, and that will increase the likelihood that he'll win, and neoliberals and centrist Democrats will split their votes between all the other establishment candidates like Kirsten Gillibrand, Cory Booker, Kamala Harris, Joe Kennedy even. I mean, these are a lot of options. So if we have just one progressive choice on our side, that's a benefit to us. But in the end, I do think that she is clearing a path for Bernie Sanders. However, what's interesting to me is that she wouldn't give Chuck Todd a pledge and say that she would remain committed to her seat for 6 years. So what does that tell me? Well, to me, that doesn't suggest that she is bluffing and that she really is going to run in 4 years or in 2 years. But what it does say to me is that she's open to potentially being a VP pick. If Bernie Sanders is the Democratic Party's nominee, would she turn down the chance to be his vice president? I don't think she would. I really don't. If there's some other establishment candidate that chooses to try to appeal to progressives, unlike what Hillary Clinton did in 2016, would she turn him or her down? I don't think so. So Elizabeth Warren, she's someone who, she's not dumb, and she is a very calculating politician, more so than a lot of us previously thought. So in choosing to not run for president, I think that's big. That shows us very clearly that there's another progressive contender that is going to run. It's Bernie, and she knows it. But with that being said, she's also not going to close the door to potentially being his VP pick. And let me just say this, even if I was previously hurt by what Elizabeth Warren did and disenfranchised by what she did and just honestly cringed at some of the stuff that she said in defense of her neoliberal allies in Congress, I would still absolutely support a Sanders-Warren ticket. I think that that would be huge, not just for progressive policies, but in terms of the electoral success that that ticket would have. I mean, you have two people who are, for the most part, unapologetically progressive. Certainly, Bernie Sanders is better than Elizabeth Warren. Neither of them are perfect, but I mean, it would be a substantial improvement. It'd be probably the best ticket we've seen since Jimmy Carter, perhaps even since FDR in terms of economic populism. So if she wants to be vice president, I support that 100%, even if I do feel disappointed in what she previously did, or more specifically didn't do, in choosing to not endorse Bernie. But I can get over that if we're going to get the policy concessions that that we've all been fighting for. So, you know, only time will tell, but hopefully her message does resonate about us not only being the party that pays attention once every 4 years, and I totally get the irony in me discussing this and pretty much contradicting the importance of that point, but I do think that, you know, even though I don't want to get bogged down by presidential politics, progressives, we were fucked over last time, so we do have to become hypersensitive to any and everything the establishment might try to pull, but at the same time, we have to commit to still fight when there are years of midterms and years when there's no presidential election. So, yeah.
Support this podcast by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Humanist Report.